Hey, welcome to a new episode. Today we are at RGF, a really cool GT-R shop up in Fukushima. It's the sister shop to MCR, if you've heard about that. Another specialist that has a lot to do with GT-R tuning just outside Tokyo. It's owned by Kanazawa-san, who is a bit of a legend in Japan. He used to be the driver of the Veilside R32 drag car. He was basically involved in the development of the car, including Veilside's Supra that Yokomaku developed after the 32. And he was the driver that got the fastest time on radial tires back in the day. So we're talking about 8.6 pass. Yokomaku was the guy that was actually driving when they did the 0300 challenge, as well as Daijiro Inada. So a little bit of a history for you behind the scenes of what RGF is all about. If you're wondering what RGF stands for, it's actually Racing Garage Fastest. And it's pretty much a GT-R specialist, mainly leaning towards R35. So we're gonna take a look at the new shop they've just opened and kind of see what cars they have in, what kind of work they do, and maybe there's some other stuff outside that we'll take a look at. Okay, so like most shop tours, I really like to kind of roam around the outside of shops and just see what kind of cars they have sitting outside. And there's a lot here. Starting with this nice FD on Advan TC2s. These are probably a combination of customer cars, demo cars, and other factories that kind of bring cars here for engine tuning. This is definitely one of Andy's hundreds. You can tell that it's definitely built for drift. Nice 32 GT-R here on R33 rims, clean S15 on NKs, and an S13 on old school Volks. And this thing here, I actually remember seeing this at a race event, I believe. It's S Design. I'm not too familiar with this company. I know they obviously do aero conversion, and very strange ones at that. Very, how can I be diplomatically correct here? Very different. Let's move over to this side. There's a bunch of covered up cars. I think I spot some GT-R silhouettes there. But before we go inside, let's have a look at the Hachi here. A nice wide body 180. A pair of 35s here. So the RGF, much like the MCR look, is to always run the NK RS05RRs, which are these kind of multi-spoke wheels, really concave kind of design. And of course, being a 35, they're fitted in 20-inch. They're actually running the Niova AD09s, which are now available in 20-inch sizing. Endless brakes at the front and the back. Monoblock calipers. Oh no, I apologize. There's actually a stock Brembo 4-pot at the back. Pretty simple when it comes to like design. They really just tend to keep it quite clean and simple. There's an RH9 titanium exhaust on this one. This is a bit more stock looking. Same wheels again. And stock brakes. The first time I actually visited RGF back in the day, I think it was probably like 5-6 years ago now, I did a story on Speed Hunters, and they were still at their old location, and now they've just kind of increased their volume probably tenfold with this new building. So we're just gonna go inside and take a look. Is Kanazawa-san, hello. So he's the legendary driver I just told you about, and there's a lot to check out here. I guess let's start from this corner down here, because there's a nice old school Hako 2000 GT Skyline. This is a local Fukushima car from Iwaki, 4-door on Hayashi Racing wheels. In for a bit of maintenance. Immaculately kept car. Let's see if we can have a quick look inside. Just look at that interior, it's absolutely perfect. And I spot some auxiliary gauges here, Kamiari gauges. There's a nice championship blue R33 here, and judging by the way it sits at the front, it has no engine. And check it out, it's got winter tires, snow tires. As I said, both RGF and MCR really love their NK wheels. These are the NT05Rs, NT03RRs, I apologize. Over here there's a R34 GT-T sitting on top of an R35. Again, as you just saw outside, the RGF look is stock body, very simple, and then the NK RS. This has obviously been involved in a little bit of an accident, probably getting fixed. GT-T up here on top. A lot of people like to block this off on R34s. They don't like the way it kind of loses control once you start putting too much power through the driveline. One thing that Kanazawa really is a big fan of is Kawasaki bikes, especially the old stuff. This is actually a brand new Z900 RS. This is like top of the line bike with Yoshimura exhaust. I'm not too much of a specialist when it comes to anything with this kind of type, but he's got a really cool collection of more bikes over there, which we'll take a look. JZX 100 AVS wheels, in for some maintenance. Looks like it's getting a new set of dampers put in, the T7s. Here's a set of stock R35 Veilsides. This GTT just actually pulled in like 5 minutes ago, just before I started filming. It's in for a transmission and engine oil change. And this gigantic AMG G63 is actually Kanazawa's personal car. And he's actually cleaning it up. He's basically picked it up, never really used it, and seeing the prices of these things have just like skyrocketed. He's gonna sell it and make a profit, and you know, give it to somebody that actually will drive it. Like most cars up here, unfortunately, with the amount of snow that they get and the amount of salt they put on roads, they tend to rust a little bit more than cars that you see down in Tokyo. Next to it, very stock looking R35. And here we have that collection of bikes. We were just being told that this 750, I think it's called a Z1, basically is a 50-year-old bike. And you can kind of compare it to an Akosuka because it's the most valuable Japanese bike of the era. And it's probably rated around 8 million yen. So considerably expensive for a bike. For example, the new one, the Z900 RS, which is the current production version of these bikes, sells for about 3 million, so more than double. Next to it is the 900cc version. This was actually for export markets because back in the 70s and 80s, Japan had a regulation where engines couldn't have more than, I think it was 750cc. Something to do with, you know, keeping people safe and not giving too much power to bikes. And eventually that got dropped. So bikes like this started coming in, but the 750 remains more valuable than the 900 because that's the bike that everybody wants and kind of lusts after. And next to it is the GPZ 400. Again, 400cc is a class of bikes that kind of came to be much because, you know, of the 750cc regulation. And there's another cool 35 here. Again, we have the NKs. The RS05RR NKs, endless brakes, front and back, on Niovas. I think R35 owners in Japan are really happy that they have the Adva Niova as a choice for tire now that they've gone up to 20 inches. Okay, like I said, this is a whole brand new kind of construction, and this area here is pretty much going to be taken over by a 2-story shop section with offices and stuff. So it's still kind of much in the works. And through here you have access to the back. We were checking out the cars before. You have one of Andy's JZX 100s, the 32, the Sylvia, and the S13. So he's actually turned on the new bike, the Z900 RS. You can take a look. So it only has 973 kilometers on the odometer. Some response. So there you go, 40 years of differences between engines and responses. That new one just sounds like an F1 engine pretty much. This 35 we just looked at is actually a left-hand drive version, and it's the shop demo car. So we'll take a look at what it's running up front. Oh wow. So it's got everything except turbos basically. So full HKS piping, intercooler upgrades. It's got ARC radiator tank and a Nismo engine cover. Okay, I just noticed it also runs the Nismo fenders with a little integrated fender spoiler. Kanazawa-san, なんでアメリカから来たこの車？これフランスです。フランス？フランス、EU です。EU version. So this is actually a European model car from France. All right, let's hear this FDM 35. So it runs the MCR power titanium full exhaust system. He's gotten rid of the whole European, 7,000 catalysts. Yeah, it's so crazy seeing a left-hand drive in Japan. I wonder if Japanese cars had that. Maybe R35 guys can tell. Yeah, let me know in the comments. So this is the track edition. And of course it's running a Bride bucket seat, which I would never ever get into. It's got all the paperwork for all the import paperwork. He kept everything, and you know why they do it is just to be different. I guess if you're kind of like talking to your friends about demo cars, you could say, oh, it's the one with left-hand drive, and then everybody kind of associates it with RGF. Kanazawa-san actually offered me to take his demo car for a ride, but unfortunately the extra tight bucket seat problem plagues me wherever I go in Japan. But at least I can fit in the passenger side, so Kanazawa-san is going to drive and we can get a bit of a feel of what this car is all about. So here we are, exiting the shop. So Kanazawa-san was just telling me that he was also the driver of the Escort Z drag car. So Escort is a very famous drag shop here in Japan. They're the guys that are now in charge of running Fire Ando's Time Attack program with the Evo, and he was their development driver back in the day and the driver for the drag car. So I know I'm in good hands when it comes to Kanazawa-san. So this car runs three-way Tane suspension. It's a custom build that he's developed with Tane, so it's something you cannot buy off the shelf. I'll take some local roads here. I'll warm it up a little bit. So nice Fukushima countryside. So they've just started planting all the rice in the paddy, so it's not as green as it's going to get in like a couple of months, but it's still beautiful, beautiful area of Japan. It certainly makes a difference from Tokyo. What I didn't quite understand is that it actually does run aftermarket turbos, this car. It's on a prototype version of GCG turbos, so it's about 700 horsepower, which is, good lord, serious amount of power for a street car. And we all know how explosive R35s are when it comes to like low end response and torque. So it's not that crazy fast, but response is amazing. Oh, yeah. Wow, it pulls like a train. Suspension いいね。でしょ？すごい。すごい、ブレーキもすごい。 kind of forget just how insanely fast they are. And that transmission, despite being clunky like crazy, is ridiculously fast and smooth shifting. And it's just the perfect combination to an engine like a VR38 that's been tuned. That was an intense bit of driving. I didn't expect to be taken out today, but yeah, what a great way to finish this video. A big thanks to Kanazawa-san allowing me to kind of check out his shop before it's even finished. And I think we'll definitely have to go and visit MCR in Tokyo, the sister shop, kind of like combine it and see what they're doing with their 35s over there. So hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more 35 content, and check back soon for more.